Hello, this is Aaron Mean of Vestia Gaming Info, and welcome to my video review of Anno 2205. Ubisoft Blue Byte's Anno 2205 is the 6th game in the Anno city building series, and is the first Anno game I have played. The main crux of Anno 2205 is that you are a brand new corporation, attempting to make a name for themselves by expanding your corporation into 3 separate regions, Earth's temperate and Arctic regions, and for the first time in the Anno series, the Moon. Anno 2205 is one of the most enjoyable games I've played all year. I found myself sitting down for hours building up my corporate empire by expanding to new regions, building up resources, hiring employees, and of course, like any good corporation, making money. Anno 2205's approach to city building is incredibly well designed, with the game deciding not to bog you down with too many useless buildings or tasks. It makes the objectives clear and allows you to complete these objectives with an easy to use and understand interface. While the game is easy to understand, it has a good degree of complication to it, especially when you begin to expand, as trying to keep your corporation in the green while also expanding into a new region is quite difficult. I also noticed that when I started expanding, I would always struggle, as I always found the need to rush to the best resources to keep my employees happy, and as such maximize output. But the game does seem to punish rapid expansion, and as such going slow and steady seems to be the way to go. The slow and steady approach idea is probably best shown when you expand from the game's first region, Earth's temperate zone, to the Arctic. In the Arctic you have to completely change your approach because rapid expansion with a large amount of employee housing is impossible, because since the Arctic is a harsh, cold environment, you cannot place building units at a whim, and so to manage the harsh conditions you have to place resource buildings to generate heat for housing units. This means you have to balance resource buildings that lose you money with houses that gain you money. This issue also exists on the Moon, as you have to use shields to protect your land from meteor strikes. Another area where the game likes to sell is in trading. Since you can control various regions, which all continue to run no matter which region you are in, you'll be forced to trade with the world market and ship goods from one region you control to another. For example, rejuvenators made in the temperate region are important for lunar employees' satisfaction levels. Outside of city building and trading, you also have various objectives and real-time strategy naval missions. Objectives are pretty straightforward. There are the game's main objectives, which are tasks you need to complete to further expand your corporation. Sector projects, which are projects unique to each area in the game. For example, in one temperate region, you have a project that upon completion generates graphene, which is required to upgrade certain buildings. There's also client missions, which are optional objectives that require you to perform a simple task for materials or credits. The naval RTS missions are incredibly straightforward. The missions are based around stopping a group known as the Orbital Watch from committing acts of terrorism by sending your own ships to stop them. The gameplay for the missions are simplistic with very little work required, although this could be down to the fact that I got sick of being told about the missions by an in-game NPC and decided to complete them on the lowest difficulty setting. To go more in depth into the naval missions, you have to go around the map collecting resources and special weapons that include missile barrage, EMP and summoning support fleets. And as I said above, it is simplistic because if you max out in all 3 of these, you just have to spam them on the target. In the end, the naval missions are the least rewarding aspect of this otherwise fun game. Speaking of NPCs, they are rather annoying, as I found myself constantly being badgered to do favours that included destroying the Orbital Watch. The majority of the NPC annoyance stems from the game's tutorial, and I use the term tutorial loosely. The game's tutorial consists of a few lines of text regarding how to build something and letting you get on with it. The text does get the message across, but I would have loved to have a visual example that, for example, would explain the housing situation in the Arctic region, rather than stumbling across it myself. Before I offer my conclusion, I would also like to point out that I encountered numerous bugs and issues. These range from the minimap not displaying correctly, to the lunar rover getting stuck on objects. Thankfully, all the issues I encountered could be fixed by simply going to the strategic map and then back to the region. Now, in conclusion, Anno 2205 is an incredibly fun and compelling city building and trading game. While its naval missions are lacking, the game offers hours of fun as you attempt to create your perfect world and lunar spanning empire. In the end, I give Anno 2205 a score of 9 out of 10. With its pros being an easy to use and understand interface, it requires you to think strategically, trading is important, easy to get sucked into playing for hours. The game's cons are the naval RTS missions, its tutorial is lacking, and some minor bugs and issues. This is Aaron Mean for SG Gaming Info, and I'd like to say thank you for watching. Characters and Tales of Syria is by far the game's strongest point. Your companions and the characters you interact with in the world